The WNBA believed it to be secure. It believed that its greatest star was untouchable. Then, a legend supplied the numbers, demonstrating that Caitlin Clark's departure is a financial necessity rather than only an option. The writing is on the wall, as an indisputable reality has surfaced. Put loyalty aside. One star's destiny is now obviously out of the WNBA's control, and this is about stratospheric money that will change women's basketball forever. Sophie Cunningham's latest inflammatory remarks highlight the league's current stormy waters, adding fire to an already flammable scenario that may cause important players to seek the closest escape. Last year had volunteered to join the fever as Caitlin Clark's enforcer. And that's Angel McCoughtry. She played in the league forever. She's 39 years old now. And really good player. I mean, a 6-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champs. Averaged 18.6 points a game in her career. And she makes some comments about Project B that's very interesting. And I think she's saying the quiet part out loud. That some players may forego the Project B, a clandestine new organization that has the potential to completely upend the women's professional basketball scene, is the source of the seismic upheaval. This isn't your typical league, promising sums that beyond anything the WNBA has ever offered. It's an economic earthquake. Ignore the contract negotiations and gradual raises. Project B is seeking to entice the top talent with unimaginable fortune by swinging for the fences. Its rise could lead to a major exodus of players looking for financial security that would change their lives. Beginning with the most marketable assets in the league, WNBA, not unrivaled, the W's in order to play in this new league. She also squashes the myth about, players have talked about, I want to be able to stay in the States. I don't want to go overseas, blah, blah, blah. She says that's kind of BS. That sounds like a negotiating tactic is what it is. So, Sophie Cunningham, let's check this out. I'm not just speaking for myself. I think I'm speaking on behalf of probably the whole league, that when people see us competing and trying to fight to do anything it takes to win, because this is a hard league. Angel McCoughtry, a real legend and former WNBA All-Star, didn't only allude to this. With stunning precision, she presented the cold, harsh facts. Her observations, which highlight the difficult financial circumstances players must deal with while deciding where to play, are a devastating blow to the WNBA's narrative. McCoughtry speaks from experience, having witnessed the league's financial constraints firsthand during her illustrious career. Last season, she even offered to be Caitlin Clark's enforcer. She lifts the veil to reveal the disparity between these athletes' present compensation and what lies ahead. The disparity in income is simply astounding. Think about the WNBA maximum contract. Just $90,000 for elite athletes, a sum that hardly counts in the realm of professional sports. Compare that to Project B's proposed minimum pay of an astounding $2 million. This is not a little bump. For even an end-of-the-bench guy, it's an almost 22-fold boost. This one statistic highlights the WNBA's incapacity to compete, giving players with brief careers the impression that any allegiance is financially reckless. However, salaries are not the end of the money. With something unheard of in established colleagues, Project B makes the sale sweeter. Equity. Players receive more than simply a salary. A piece of the pie is being given to them. An opportunity to get a piece of a league whose value could skyrocket. This innovative strategy turns athletes from workers into stakeholders by directly tying their long-term financial interests to the expansion of the league. For athletes looking for generational wealth well beyond what conventional WNBA contracts provide, it's an alluring opportunity. McCoughtry asked the question that was on everyone's mind. Why put your body through playing the demon WNBA if you're going to get paid $5 million without holding back? This goes beyond rhetoric. The WNBA's value proposition is fundamentally challenged by this. When an alternative gives such great financial security, why put up with the demanding schedule, the physical strain, and the comparatively low pay? Every WNBA player, especially those with market-moving star power, must reevaluate their priorities in light of her frank judgment. To make matters worse, McCry dispels the long-held notion that WNBA players would rather remain in the US. The idea that players value being at home has been promoted for years, which makes leagues like unrivaled appealing. McCutcheon, however, refers to it as B. She clarifies that this constructed preference is essentially a negotiating strategy, a handy narrative that conveniently ignores the need for genuinely life-altering funds. In actuality, players will travel to any location for the correct payment. You're fixing to see a lot of surprising names. I have a feeling sign up for this league, because they think the W's going to 850 or 1 million. Okay, well, what do you think they would pay A'ja Wilson? 8 million, 10 million a year, so 8 to 10 times more than they're paying now. Caitlin Clark, 15 million, 20 million, 25 million. I mean, I don't know. People seem to get offended when I bring that why. Speaking from very personal experience, McCutcheon describes her favorite travel destinations, such as Istanbul, Turkey. She paints a vivid picture of a lively life filled with delicious cuisine, rich culture, and renowned parties that, on off days, run till 7 in the morning before breakfast. It's not a sacrifice. It's an improvement in living. The prospect of playing in Europe, Asia, or even Africa, along with travel, elite basketball, and enormous compensation, is portrayed as the life rather than a hardship, entirely redefining the abroad options. The carefully crafted narrative by current WNBA players and league officials is destroyed by this disclosure from a reputable WNBA veteran. It is shown to be a convenient illusion that players prefer to stay at home just for the purpose of it. McCutcheon effectively illustrates how the dollar quantity alters everything. Where you play is no longer as important as how much you get compensated for it. The financial strength of Project B fully eliminates the WNBA's geographic preference-based power. There is more than simply a financial gap between Project B and the WNBA. Additionally, it surpasses recent domestic equivalents like as Unrivaled, which pays participants about $250,000. The minimum $2 million required for Project B is essentially 9 times that amount. This implies that a player may earn as much as 9 Unmatched seasons or numerous WNBA maximum seasons in a single year. The magnitude of this new league's investment in Project B indicates a total game share, making it impossible for lesser rivals to genuinely compete for elite players. The ramifications for true superstars are enormous when an end-of-the-bench player can demand a minimum wage of $2 million. If any player, regardless of star status, can get such an amazing contract elsewhere, the WNBA's whole compensation structure and even its very survival are called into question. Who will fill the rosters? The league could become hollowed out as a result, losing the excitement and talent that attracts spectators. A clear route to its eventual destruction if significant and quick reforms aren't made. Let's now discuss the real game changers. What about the WNBA Titans if an average player can earn $2 million? According to McCree, a celebrity like A'ja Wilson can fetch $8 million or perhaps $10 million annually from Project V. This is a multiple of 8 to 10 times her current WNBA salary, not merely more money. These numbers are not only alluring, but they also constitute a moral requirement that agents and players take into account, necessitating a thorough reassessment of their professional trajectories. The biggest name in women's basketball, Caitlin Clark, is a transcended talent whose emergence has energized the WNBA. McCutcheon's predictions for Clark are astounding. $15 million, $20 million, or perhaps $25 million annually. These are more than just figures. They make a statement. They stand for a level of wealth that would fundamentally alter her life and legacy, far more than the WNBA could ever hope to provide given its current financial situation. The WNBA would suffer a terrible hit if she left. Clark's enormous Nike contract serves as a stark reminder of her potential Project B profits. With a reasonable estimate of $20 million per year from Project B, she might double her anticipated Nike income in just 8 years, or about 3 years. This degree of financial stability obtained by playing basketball is unheard of and alluring. It draws attention to the core issue facing the WNBA. Its most valuable assets are unable to have a comparable financial future, which forces them to think about other possibilities. Players like Nafi Sakir and Breanna Stewart's defense of staying in the country is shown to be a smokescreen. McCutcheon's direct comments validate what many had suspected. It's all about the money, not about remaining put. It is now indisputable that the notion that athletes would forego millions to play in the US when there are plenty of profitable and pleasurable possibilities abroad is untrue. A handy lie used to conceal the domestic league's underlying financial problems. The WNBA's problems are made worse by yet another issue amid this impending financial crisis: the controversial remarks made by Sophie Cunningham regarding supporters. She said that spectators misjudge athletes based just on how aggressively they play on the court, failing to recognize their actual characteristics off the court. Her tone and implicit criticism of the fan base caused a great deal of resentment, even as she pleaded for understanding. This error further undermines the league's foundation by exposing a fundamental gap between players and the very audience that is essential to its survival. According to Cunningham's reasoning, fans erroneously associate a player's competitive on-court attitude with their temperament off-court. She thinks fans would fall in love if they really got to know them. She makes an important distinction, though. Dirty play is not the same. A player's character is affected if they are genuinely unscrupulous and dishonest. This subtlety is crucial, but her first generalization ran the risk of upsetting a fan base that was already struggling with how the league was seen, creating even more conflict and unhappiness. For fans, the debate centers on the boundary between tough defense and hustle plays versus dirty play. Sophie may think that fans misinterpret intensity, but many onlookers have a good sense of what constitutes true unsportsmanlike behavior. Instead of encouraging a closer bond, her remarks run the risk of dismissing valid fan complaints about specific actions. This internal conflict between players' self-perceptions and public perceptions only makes the league's public image issues worse and drives away prospective supporters. A perfect storm is created by the combination of these elements: Project B's enormous financial appeal, the debunking of the stay-at-home fiction, and the internal conflict brought to light by player-fan disputes. For any athlete, especially those with the star potential to demand top salary, leaving the WNBA in search of unparalleled wealth becomes not only a feasible option but also the overwhelmingly rational choice. With its most important assets appearing to be headed for other endeavors, the league is currently fighting on several fronts. Unlike anything in its history, the WNBA is facing an existential threat. Can it change, significantly raise player pay, and resolve internal conflicts to keep its best players? Or will the allure of multi-million-dollar contracts and international travel prove to be too strong, resulting in a mass exodus that reduces the league to a shadow of its former selves? Players like Caitlin Clark's impending departure due to unavoidable financial realities isn't just a possibility.